Hello and welcome. In this explainer, we're diving into some incredibly practical advice from DailyCaring.com. If you're a caregiver, you already know that some of the biggest challenges pop up when you're supposed to be resting. Well, today we're going to tackle one of those head-on with a solution that is just brilliantly simple. If you're a caregiver for someone who deals with incontinence, you know this feeling all too well, right? That middle-of-the-night realization that means, yep, another round of changing sheets and cleaning up. It's just exhausting, and it can really feel like a never-ending cycle. So let's call it what it is, the nightly laundry battle. And before we jump into the solution, I think it's important to just take a second and acknowledge the real scope of this problem. Because honestly, it's so much more than just a little extra laundry. The true cost here is often hidden. It's the time and the sheer energy you spend on constant cleaning. It's the stress of trying to deal with those lingering odors. And of course, there's the financial hit from having to replace expensive mattresses. But you know what? Most importantly, it's the lost sleep for both you and your loved one that really takes the biggest toll. But what if I told you there's a way to break this cycle? There is. It's called the layer cake method, a really simple strategy that can save you hours of work and a whole lot of frustration, especially in the middle of the night. The concept is honestly beautiful in its simplicity. By strategically layering waterproof and absorbent products, you basically create a barrier system. And the goal here isn't just to protect the mattress, that's part of it, for sure. The real magic is making cleanup lightning fast. So when an accident happens, you're not stripping the whole bed, you're just peeling off that top, soiled layer. Easy. All right, so let's get practical. How do you actually build this bed fortress? Let's walk through the whole process, step by step. Okay, here's how it all comes together. First, you're going to encase the entire clean mattress in a zippered waterproof cover. This is your foundation. Nothing's getting past this. Next, on top of that, add a fitted sheet style waterproof cover. You can even add a second one if you want extra protection. Then comes your regular, comfy fitted sheet. And deep pocket sheets work best here. And finally, the most important part, 1 or 2 absorbent, waterproof pads right on top of everything. This is the layer that gets changed in seconds. Now for that top layer, you've got options. On the one hand, you have washable pads. They're super cost-effective in the long run and, of course, better for the environment. On the other hand, disposable pads offer that ultimate convenience for the absolute quickest cleanup. A great little pro tip from Daily Caring is to use a combination, maybe a washable pad underneath a disposable one. That way you kind of get the best of both worlds. Okay, so the mattress is basically bulletproof. But we're not done. The fortress isn't complete until we protect the pillows and the blankets, which, let's be honest, can be just as difficult to clean. Protecting pillows follows the exact same layering logic. It's super easy. Just start with a waterproof pillow cover, or even 2 for extra security, then put the regular washable pillowcase on top. Simple, effective, and it saves you from having to toss out a soiled pillow. Blankets can be tricky, but here are 3 excellent strategies. First, think about swapping that one thick comforter for several thin washable blankets. They're just so much easier to launder. Second, you can actually find waterproof duvet covers to protect the comforter itself. And third, here's a clever little DIY solution. Since waterproof flat sheets are kind of rare, you can just buy a larger waterproof fitted sheet and snip off the elastic edges. Boom, instant waterproof flat sheet. Now look, this entire layering system is a fantastic defense. It really is. But the absolute best strategy, well, that's to try and prevent leaks from happening in the first place. This is your real first line of defense. And this all starts with using the right primary product. A high-quality, super absorbent incontinence brief that's specifically designed for overnight use can make all the difference in the world. Now, it might take a little experimenting to find the best fit and absorbency, but trust me, it is so worth the effort. For even more protection, you can add what's called a booster pad. Now, this is important. This is not a regular incontinence pad. A booster pad is designed specifically to be placed inside an incontinence brief. It doesn't have a waterproof backing, so it adds an extra layer of absorption and lets liquid pass through to the brief below, basically boosting its capacity. So, we've talked about products and layers and all these techniques, but what is all of this really about? What's the end game? It's about reclaiming something that is incredibly precious, rest. It's all about a small change that makes a monumental difference. Implementing this layer cake method, it isn't some massive overhaul of your routine. but the impact it can have on your stress levels, on your energy, and your quality of sleep, it's just huge. So let's just quickly recap why this is such a game changer. It saves your time and your energy. It protects your investment in mattresses and linens. It seriously cuts down on the stress and frustration of cleanup. And most importantly, it helps both you and the person you care for get a more secure and a more restful night's sleep. I'll leave you with this thought. Just think about it for a second. If this simple system could give you back an hour of sleep, or even just an hour of peace of mind each night, what would you do with it? That's why these practical tips are so important. We really hope this explainer based on the great advice from DailyCaring.com was helpful. If you found some value in this tip, please consider sharing it with another caregiver who might need it. Thanks so much for tuning in.